TGIF, folks. Hey, I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and you're listening to episode 183 of Soapbox Daily. Happy Friday to you, folks. TGIF. Thank you for tuning in today. Happy for you to be here. Thank you very much. And as always, being the Mad Morgan that I am just going to wish you, for those of you that do recognize this day as a certain holiday, being, I guess, Good Friday. Well, happy Good Friday to you. For everybody else, it is Friday just the same, and it's the end of the week. So speaking of which, it's the end of the week, and how was your integrity this week? How was your actions? What were you doing? Were you doing the right thing when no one else is watching? Were you being the positive change only you will know, onwards and upwards? And speaking of which, let's get into today's topic. I know I'm a little late today on today's show, but it's just been a busy week, pretty crazy week. But today's topic is how many of your neighbors do you know? That is the question of the day. How many of your neighbors do you know? That is the question being, because I wonder if you actually think about it, you, interestingly enough, probably only know about 1 or 2 of your neighbors. Most people only do know about 1 or 2 of their neighbors. And I think what's interesting is you actually stop and think about this one. We live, we sleep, we do everything we do to live our lives within a throwing distance of strangers. Sometimes just on the other side of the wall, interestingly enough. So close in proximity, but how many times have you talked to your neighbors? Do you even know your neighbors' names? Do you know anything about your neighbors? But yet they are strangers. They are strangers. And I want to give you, it's a good question because I happen to live in an area that has townhouses and they're all connected. So I happen to have met or talked to at least everybody in my row of townhouses. But across the way, no. And I live in a cul-de-sac, so it's a circular street. So I can see everybody's lives going on. There's at least 6 different residences in a row, and I could see at least 4 rows. So we're talking, do the math on that. 4 times 6 is 24 households. I can see looking out my front door, and yet I haven't talked to any of them. Maybe waved to them in passing. Don't know their names, don't know anything about them other than what I can observe. And how about yourself? Do you know the person that lives next door to you, or the other side, or across the street? It makes you wonder, eh? It would be interesting if we could all know each other, and that usually only seems to happen in small towns. But in cities, it's like everybody's in their little plastic bubble. They're on their own little thing, do their own thing. You stay on your lawn, I stay on my lawn. And very rarely do you interact. And it's sad, actually, because think about community. The only time community pulls together is when it affects them all. But it would be nice if a time of need that you could actually turn to your neighbor or anybody in your local area for assistance to help each other out. You help them, they help you. And I guess what I'm going to get into today is 10 reasons to get to know your neighbors. Maybe that'll inspire you this summer to go out, or winter, depending on where you are in the world. Maybe this will inspire you to go out and actually get to know your neighbors. Say hello, introduce yourself. Believe it or not, these are good reasons, and they'll make sense to you hopefully when I present them, to understand why you should get to know your neighbors. I think all of us should get to know each other better. I think collectively, that's what the world needs. We all need to get to know each other and realize that our lives are very similar. We all have the same struggles and joys and everything else. I think maybe that's what will bind humankind together. So let's get into these 10 reasons on this Friday and go from there. There are many things that can make your life a lot easier, but not many consider the impact of knowing your neighbors and having a reasonable relationship. Really, having a reasonable relationship with them doesn't mean you have to be buddy-buddy, but at least a reasonable relationship with them. You don't need to become best friends with people that live around your home, but you may find that having mutual respect offers a range of benefits. So here are some 10 reasons to get to know your neighbors. Number 1, a more peaceful life. If you respect your neighbors and they respect you, it is far more likely that life in and around your home will be better. Number 2, improve safety and security at home. When you know your neighbors, you will be more inclined to look out for their property, and they will do the same for you. Number 3, you can get backup supplies. Depending on where you live, you may have local stores, but there may be times when the stores are shut and you don't have money on you. With a good relationship with your neighbors, you should be able to borrow stuff like milk or coffee or other essentials that weren't available when you really need them. Next point, number 4, is going to be, hey, you know what? Work together to improve homes. Depending on the layout of your home and surrounding homes, you may have a chance to work together on joint projects. Number 5, if you have kids, they can be friends. It is really important for children to develop friendships, and if your neighbors have children around the same age as yours, there is a great platform for friendship. Number 6, you can receive support. Along similar lines, if you have neighbors who have families, there is a greater chance that you may get support from them. Hopefully, you won't need it, but there may be times when you need short-term childcare support or you need advice or guidance on an issue. Number 7, I believe, help and cover when you are away. If you have good neighbors, you may find that going away on holidays seems and becomes a lot easier when you have good neighbors. When you have neighbors you can trust, they can pop in and check on your pets or water your plants or collect your mail or do any other form of work around your home that may need to be undertaken when you are on holidays. To have a good relationship with your neighbors like that's an excellent benefit right there. Number 8, you may get new friends, believe it or not, by getting to know your neighbors. While we said earlier that you don't need to become friends with your neighbors to make the most of your home life, there is nothing to say that you cannot become friends with your neighbors. Number 9, find out more about local life. Get to know your neighbors. You most likely have neighbors that visit local stores or restaurants and try different restaurants and bars that you haven't tried. So they might be able to give you some recommendations and pointers. Speaking to your neighbors about local life can give you more insight about what is out there to offer in the local area. And lastly, networking opportunities. Your neighbors will have their own friends, family, neighbors, and connections, which means that if you are friends with them, these contacts may be opened to you. Whether you are looking for business connections or to expand your social circle, the people in your neighborhood may be able to help you out getting to know your neighbors. I mean, these are just some simple reasons that are great factors to consider when dealing with neighbors and people in your local area. I mean, I know some of my neighbors, not all my neighbors, and I make a point of being friendly and wave and everything, but some people are always on guard about these things. But I encourage you, if you don't even know one of your neighbors, to go out and try to say hello, introduce yourself. These 10 reasons may give you some reasons to be motivated to do so. But I think we should all try to get along, and especially when we're living so close together, try to get to know each other and be there to help out each other, make this world a better place, a sense of community. All right, so that's about it for today. Happy Friday to you. I'm your host, Mad Morgan. Please check out our main website, themadmorgan.com. Yes, themadmorgan.com for more information on all our podcasts and shows and projects and everything else now and moving into the future. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you on Monday for our next episode.